I gave my dad his money back in front of his other kids and told him he was no longer welcome at my graduation. My dad always made it super clear that I was his least favorite kid. When I was 8, my mom left and he got stuck raising me. That's when he met Rebecca and her 2 kids, Tyler and Jess. He moved us all in together and suddenly I went from being his only child to being the unwanted baggage. Tyler was perfect at everything. Football captain, straight A's, full scholarship to state. Jess was daddy's little princess who could do no wrong. Meanwhile, I was just the kid who reminded him of his first marriage failure. Every family dinner was Tyler talking about his latest achievements while dad beamed like he'd won the lottery. Jess would show him her art projects, and he'd hang them on the fridge with little heart magnets. When I brought home my honor roll certificate sophomore year, he glanced at it for 2 seconds and said, "Good job, sport," without even looking up from his phone. The worst part was how he'd introduce us to people. "This is my son Tyler. He's going to state on a football scholarship, and my daughter Jess, she's so artistic." Then he'd pause and add, "Oh, and this is Jake, just Jake," like I was some random kid who happened to live there. Money was always tight, but somehow Tyler always got new cleats, and Jess got her art supplies. When I needed new shoes for cross country, Dad said the old ones had plenty of life left. They were held together with duct tape. Rebecca tried to stick up for me sometimes, but Dad would just say I needed to learn the value of hard work. Senior year came, and I was actually doing pretty well. I'd gotten into 3 colleges and even landed a small academic scholarship. I was excited to tell him, thinking maybe this would be the thing that made him proud. I found him in the garage working on Tyler's car and told him about the acceptance letters. He nodded and said, "That's nice, buddy," then asked if I could hand him a wrench. That night at dinner, Tyler announced he'd been named team captain for state's freshman squad. Dad literally stood up and clapped. He pulled out his wallet and handed Tyler $200 for celebration dinner with his girlfriend. I looked at Jess and she rolled her eyes. Even she thought it was too much. The breaking point came 3 weeks before graduation. I needed money for my cap and gown rental, plus the senior trip deposit. It was $85 total. I'd been working part-time at the grocery store, but every penny went toward college stuff. I asked Dad if he could help and he sighed like I'd asked him to donate a kidney. He reached for his wallet super slowly, like it physically hurt him. Then he pulled out a 20 and said, "This is all I can spare right now, $20 for graduation." The same guy who just threw 200 at Tyler for getting a position he probably wouldn't even keep. I took the 20 and said thanks, but inside I was done. Completely done. I picked up extra shifts at work, sold some of my stuff online, and scraped together the money myself. Every time I had to choose between eating lunch and saving for graduation expenses, I remembered that $20 bill. Graduation day came, and Dad, Rebecca, Tyler, and Jess all showed up. They sat in the middle section while I was backstage getting ready. During the ceremony, I kept looking out at the crowd and seeing all these families cheering and crying for their kids. When they called my name, I heard Rebecca and Jess clapping, but Dad was just sitting there checking his phone. After the ceremony, we all met up in the parking lot. Dad came over and said, "Congratulations, kiddo," then tried to give me this awkward side hug. That's when I reached into my pocket and pulled out a $20 bill, the exact same one he'd given me. I'd kept it this whole time. I held it out to him and said, "Here's your 20 back, Dad. I don't need it anymore." He looked confused and asked what I meant. So I explained how I'd paid for everything myself. The cap and gown, the senior trip, even the graduation announcements that I never sent him because I figured he wouldn't care enough to keep them. Tyler and Jess were standing right there watching this whole thing go down. Rebecca looked mortified. Dad tried to say he'd helped me plenty over the years, but I cut him off. I told him the only thing he'd helped me with was learning that I couldn't count on him for anything important. Then I looked at Tyler and Jess and said, "You guys are lucky you got the dad I always wanted. Maybe he'll actually show up when it matters for you." I turned back to Dad and said, "You're not welcome at my college graduation in 4 years. Don't bother pretending you care then either." I walked away and got in my car. Through the rearview mirror, I could see them all standing there in this super awkward silence.